Pinky up because we're fancy. NIGHTCAT Classic Tales is the part of the show where I share with you a past experience in my life, sometimes traumatic, not always for me, like in tonight's story. But before we get into that story, I do have to quickly tell you about a news story that I was reading that jogged my memory for this. This story comes to us from Denver. KUSA says the Denver police were recently called to free a trapped snake in someone's car. The snake's owner had just gotten the snake and decided he wanted to take that snake and all of his other snakes out for a joyride. He literally put them in boxes, stuffed them in the car, and took off for the sun. I don't know. Snakes don't care. They don't care at all. I've worked with enough snakes to know snakes do not give a single S whether or not they're in the car. But he decided that he really wanted to show his snakes the world. Well, the new snake, who apparently is not familiar with how car rides work, managed to get out of the box and lodged itself into a seat to the point where this guy couldn't find the snake at all. So the police literally had to come, undo some bolts, take out the seats so that they could get the snake, which they did, and the snake was fine. I used to work for a reptile exhibitor here in town called Scales and Tails, Utah. And basically I would take snakes and lizards and alligators to schools and I would teach kids all about how awesome they were. And it was like one of the best jobs I've ever had. I absolutely loved it. And we typically would travel for our shows, but it was never very far outside of northern Utah. Except for this one time when I loaded up all of our animals and drove straight through the night to New Mexico. Albuquerque, New Mexico, for a reptile show. And I get there, and I'm loading in the boxes. For the most part, it's pretty understood that you don't tell the hotel staff that you have boxes full of like 14-foot snakes. They don't like it. They're not fans. So you just sort of quietly take the boxes up to your room, put them away, and don't tell anyone. There was a conference happening of the Young Latinos Business Association. I don't know why it was important for me to tell you exactly what conference, but it was important to me at the time. I loved it. Two young prospective businessmen got onto the elevator with me when I had one enormous box. They're like, hey, what do you got in there? Which is a rude thing to ask. You don't ask people what's in their stuff, so I feel 0% bad about what's about to happen to this poor kid, right? So I say, big snake? And he's like, what? And I go, big snake. And he still wasn't hearing me, or he was like electing not to hear me. So, you wanna see? And I pop open the box, and I show him this snake. That's the exact snake from the exact trip. And I thought he was going to shoot out of the ceiling. He was trying to climb the walls. There's nothing to hold on to. It's an elevator. He was literally climbing up the mirror. I thought for sure the elevator was going to stop in its tracks. And as soon as those doors opened, it wasn't even his floor. He ran faster than anyone I've ever seen. If you gave Usain Bolt some sort of, I don't know, meth maybe, he would not have run faster than this young Latino business leader who ran away from this snake. Anyway, that's Nobby. She's gorgeous. She's just one of my favorites. And she helped me terrify the locals of Albuquerque, New Mexico. So I'm gonna go ahead and just give this snake a big ol' thank you, baby girl. Thank you. And that is NIGHTCAT Classic Tales.